Welcome to this week's Parashat Tavo, Deuteronomy 26:1-29-8. It opens with a vision of arrival. When you enter the land that the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. Doit 26:1. It is the parasha of entering, settling, and recognizing that every blessing flows from Hashem. Teaching Tavo is an opportunity to highlight the power of gratitude, the seriousness of covenant loyalty, and the reality that obedience shapes destiny. Parashat Tavo describes the blessings and the curses. The Jewish people are warned that terrible curses will overtake them as a consequence of not listening to the voice of God and refusing to keep his mitzvot. One of the worst curses is the threat of a famine so horrible that even the most caring person is forced to behave in an extremely cruel manner. The man that is tender among you and most delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, whom he shall leave. Devarim 28:54. The Torah describes the sensitive man and woman at length, each one by a separate verse. The tender and delicate woman among you, who would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eye shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter. Devarim 28:56. Let us compare the verses that describe the tender among men and women. What is the difference between them? Kli Yakar notes that men are not naturally as delicate as women. Therefore, it was necessary to add the word most to the word delicate in reference to the man, to emphasize that even the most delicate man would act in this cruel way. However, among women, one does not have to be especially delicate to be disgusted with the thought of acting in such a cruel fashion. The verse describing the tender woman contains an additional phrase that would never be portrayed in this manner. The phrase, who would not, and tenderness, teaches us about the pitfalls of taking femininity to adventure, to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness, its extreme, and becoming excessively delicate. What does it mean to be too delicate to put the sole of her foot upon the ground? Perhaps it refers to someone who is overly passive and submissive. A person who does not want to walk by herself is someone who is afraid to take responsibility for her own life. She literally expects the man to carry her off her feet and take care of her, while she surrenders her life into his hand. Her main desire is to be swept away by her Prince Charming on his white horse. Our mother Rivka rectified this overly feminine tendency. She is known for her initiative and decisiveness. See our teaching on Parashat Toldot on page 21. The expression, not to place the feet on the ground, can also refer to someone who is not grounded, a dreamer disconnected with the bleak reality. There are women who stay aloof in their ivory tower, reading novels and gazing at the sparkling stars, unwilling to get their feet dirty in the murky mud of daily chores. Rabbi Akiva's wife, Rachel, was able to connect her lofty visionary dream with the tough reality of simple living. In order to transform a plain sheepherder into a Torah scholar of the highest caliber, she willingly descended from the ivory castle of her youth. See Ketuvot 62b-63a. Finally, not placing her feet on the ground is associated with being afraid to take a stand. Our mother Sarah teaches us to stand up for our beliefs. She did not let anything sway her from the resolve to safeguard the future of her son, Yitzchak, by demanding that Yishmael be expelled from her home, Parashat 21:10. She was certainly not afraid to put her foot down and take a stand. As women, we must be careful to develop our will and assertiveness. We must choose a direction and stand up for truth, even if we have to go against the grain. Tavo leaves us with a stirring truth. Israel's story is not just about a land, it is about a relationship. God desires a people who acknowledge his goodness with joy, who bring their first and best to him, and who understand that blessing flows from covenant, obedience. The dramatic list of blessings and curses is not meant to frighten, but to awaken. It reminds us that life under God's covenant is not neutral. Every choice carries weight. Gratitude leads to generosity. Obedience leads to flourishing. Disobedience leads to brokenness. As we prepare for the high holy days, this parasha calls us to self-examination. Are we walking in gratitude like the farmer bringing his first fruits? Are we attentive to covenant faithfulness in our daily lives? The message is clear. When we honor God with our first and best, when we choose covenant, loyalty, blessing follows. This is not only Israel's ancient calling, it is our calling today. Have a great week ahead of you.